So I want to have a look at the Signal conversation that's happened, right? I'm sure you guys have heard about it, especially if you live in America. Apparently, Pete Hegseth and this national security team or whatever are using the Signal app, which is kind of like WhatsApp and stuff. And they accidentally added Jeffrey Goldberg, which is a journalist for The Atlantic, to the conversation. I don't know how that happens accidentally. That's not true. I do know how that happens accidentally, but like how it's not double and triple checked. And like, but then I suppose if you're using a messaging app, like a standard messaging app that really anybody can get hold of and use and can log into and stuff, I don't really know then why I'm also expecting the kind of extra insight into making sure that, you know, the right people are in the conversation. We know what the situation is, right? But I wanted to see how others are responding, specifically like Fox News, and like how it's being spun. How is it being spun? Like, how are they portraying it? Because obviously it's just a massive mistake. That's just a massive, huge, important oversight mistake that there isn't really an excuse for, right? And also they can't say that it didn't happen because all of the proof and the evidence is there. So how are they going to swing it? Let's have a look.
Did you ever try to start a group text? You're adding people and you accidentally add the wrong person. All of a sudden your Aunt Mary knows all your raunchy plans for the bachelor party. Well, that kind of happened today with the Trump administration.
Yes. Okay, I'm actually going to agree with Jesse Waters on something here. That's what I mean. Yeah, I can see how because I've done it before. You accidentally send a message to the wrong person. I've been in like 2 group chats in my whole life, and one of them was with my 2 best friends, right? I always mute anything or just remove myself straight away. I'm not interested. But I can understand how you're like adding multiple people, and maybe some people have the same names, or some people are right next to each other in the contacts. So you're like, you know, you might tap the one and think you've tapped it, but you've tapped the one next to it because, you know, everyone's got fat thumbs or something. Whatever. I can see how that happened, but the part that I can't see is that the part that then confuses me is, why do you not then double check the names that you have selected? If you know, like, oh, there's supposed to be 8 people in this chat, why are there 9 people in it? Oh, that must be an extra one or whatever. Or after you've done it and just checking everyone's got the code word or something for starting the conversation, right? Broad beans. And then everybody gives their code word or whatever, and then there's one person who's like, what do you mean code word? And then everyone's like, oh, you're not supposed to be. Nothing. You just went, boop, boop, beep, boop, 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 boop. Okay, everyone, here's the plan, this is what's going on, boom. I'm not saying that other governments and establishments don't use group chats, but specifically for the planning of bombing people, regardless of whether they're enemies or bad or whatever, guilty or blah blah blah, why are you planning those things over a group chat? What's next? Gonna be planning capital punishment over Snapchat? That's not where those conversations should be taking place. Least of all on a standard regular messaging app. Invent your own for government use or something. Now, this is going to be the massive problem with trying to fully incorporate business and government together. Is like, no, we need to be using this and that because they've got a government contract with us and we can advertise, or they can advertise some corporate bollocks.
Mike Waltz was putting together a group chat on Signal, an encrypted app, with the Secretary of Defense, the VP, and a bunch of other national security officials to collaborate on whether to strike Iranian proxies in Yemen who keep firing missiles and shutting down shipping. Well, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz accidentally added a reporter to the group text.
Yes, so you just said what the thing is. Okay, let me just say it again.
To collaborate on whether to strike Iranian proxies in Yemen who keep firing missiles and shutting down shipping. Well, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz accidentally added a reporter to the group text.
How serious is that thing that he just says? To collaborate on whether to do this with this over here because they're doing this and thing. Like big, massive political war, like military stuff on Signal. And again, I'm not saying like don't use Signal, but like with the office parties? Maybe even like a fundraising thing or something. You could send out invites and get like RSVPs instead of having to do it the old-fashioned way or something. Just have your own version of it. I'm sure there is some... You can't make your own governmental, extra secure, protected version of it. Isn't there already one? Like, our guys had a whole bunch of bust-ups over COVID and stuff, because it turned out they were still having office parties in like number 10 stuff or whatever, while the rest of us were having to social distance, right? Everybody went apeshit. We hated it. It was all like this huge massive thing, right? But they did that over WhatsApp. But it was an office party. It was like, it wasn't complex military strategy.
Well, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz accidentally added a reporter to the group text, and not a good reporter. Jeffrey Goldberg from The Atlantic, one of the biggest hoax artists around.
Sorry, that I just felt like that came out of nowhere. Do you know what I mean? Just accidentally added a reporter. And then I thought he was just going to carry on and be like, now, this shouldn't have been something and something. But then no, he just went into, and not a good reporter. Okay. And a hoax artist, I believe he said. Is that because, possibly one of two things, Jesse Waters, is that because A, he does in fact actually tell the truth, and the truth obviously misaligns a lot with what Fox News tries to propagate? So is that what you mean by a hoax artist? Or is it B, the fact that he just doesn't say good stuff about Donald Trump, right? It might just sort of be that kind of simple, you know?
Well, he heard some things he probably shouldn't have, but could have been a wee bit of a security breach.
That's an understatement. A wee bit of a security breach. The security breach just not a security breach. And here's Carolyn Levitt on Twitter. Okay, so Jeffrey Goldberg is well known for his sensationalist spin. Here are the facts about his latest story. Number 1, no war plans were discussed. Number 2, no classified material was sent to the thread. Number 3, the White House Counsel's Office has provided guidance on a number of different platforms for President Trump's top officials to communicate as safely and efficiently as possible. Whatever. Again, I still just don't know if that's where, like, super classified military information and operations and stuff should be. Other stuff, maybe, but I don't know about that. You know, maybe we have to, like, you know, talk face-to-face in person with our mouths so that there's no, like, you know, whatever. You do your thing. As the National Security Council stated, the White House is looking into how Goldberg's number was inadvertently added to the thread. Most likely because the other guy is a bit, maybe, like, just tech inept. Yeah? I just love how she's just not mentioning that it was just oversight. Like, it's just, they made a mistake. They did something stupid. They created their own security breach. He's just not really that great anyway. We didn't even, like, accidentally add, like, a good person. We added, like, an idiot by accident. Really? Also, it becomes apparent when she says that there's no classified material. It was classified material. I'm pretty sure there was, like, names and dates and locations. Like, specific information was in that chat. Maybe she just doesn't consider it to be. But yeah, we've got, on the one hand, Fox News just downplaying it, calling it a wee security breach. Is there any such thing as a wee national security breach? Do you just mean that it doesn't have particularly drastic consequences because at least it was an American patriot or citizen? What if you accidentally sent it to a Russian asset? What if you accidentally sent it to Tucker Carlson? Accidentally added Tucker Carlson. He's like bum besties with everyone in Russia, isn't he? Is that what you mean by a wee one, Jesse? Is the fact, oh, we're lucky that it was just this not trustable hoax artist journalist. Then you've got Carolyn Levitt on the other side, just completely not even talking about the breach of security and that it was their own doing, but just don't believe anything that he says. He's an idiot anyway. Yeah, like, yeah, but we added somebody, but don't worry about it. We added, like, somebody who's, like, not even, like, a thing. But then she does finish it off here with, thanks to the strong and decisive leadership of President Trump and everyone in the group, the Houthi strikes were successful and effective. Terrorists were killed, and that's what matters most to President Trump. Okay, and I know a lot of us do. But you know what I keep thinking? Imagine if this happened under Biden's watch. Because, like, oh, hell would have broken loose. Obama's even, you know. So it remains to be seen, like... Obviously, I think from this point forward, whoever it is that sets the group chat is going to double and triple check, perhaps. That being said, these are the kinds of instances that I was, like, I didn't know exactly how it was going to happen, but I was really sort of anticipating, I'm sure a lot of us were anticipating little moments of oversight and, in this case, not so security breaches, national security breaches. It's going to be things like that that sort of build up in momentum that's going to catch them out. You know, you can't create a world of a lack of regulation and insight like that and then expect to achieve your goals, you know? Like, I keep trying to explain it to a lot of people, especially when I do all my spiritual stuff. You're trying to grow something that is secure and strong and that is going to stay with you. I want to build it and then have it, and I want to just have it for the rest of my life. I don't want to worry about losing it or anything like that, you know. And especially when it comes to Trump and his lot, they want to build something and then to lock it in place. They want to create a system and a structure and a government here that is locked into place and cannot be changed for the foreseeable future. But they're trying to build it with the most broken of bricks. Okay, let's see how it works out. And I mean, is that not Trump in a nutshell? And Elon Musk, really, but is that not Trump in a nutshell? Let me put myself across as the strongest and the most secure and the most set in place. But that bravado and facade has been built on the most shakeable and sensitive of grounds. He didn't build himself with strong-ass bricks locked tight into place with the world's best cement, so that house is never coming down. He built his house on just rubble and sticks, whatever he could take and scrape from everyone else, because he never really learned how to get it for himself. So the insanity, really, the absolute the contrast of the belief system of I am creating something secure that is going to stick and be the way I want it to be for the rest of my life. You're building your house on shaky ground,